Hello, everyone, and good morning. Thank you all so much for joining me today for our Salamander Live Wizard series. In Salamander Live, there are 2 wizards that are available for all standard Salamander Live subscribers. You have the Visitor Management Wizard and then the Quick Check-in Wizard. As this is a 2-part series, we will be covering the Visitor Management Wizard this month and then follow up with the Quick Check-in Wizard next month. As always, this call will be recorded. So afterwards, if you want to review the information, please let me know and I can send you the link. Here's a quick outline for what will be covered today. So first, we're going to look at what the Visitor Management Wizard is, how to get access to the tool, and then how it works. During the training, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask at any time by unmuting yourself or by using the chat. So what is the Visitor Management Wizard? So as the name implies, it is a tool that allows Salamander Live users to check in, track, and manage visitors. Through the wizard, visitor credentials can be emailed or printed, and an email notification can be sent to the host once the check-in process is complete. So how do you get access to this tool? So as a default, if you log into Salamander Live and you look under the wizard dropdown, you'll notice that the Visitor Management Wizard is listed. So this will appear there by default. However, for access, the user has to be assigned the visitor management role. So under their security user account, they have to be assigned the specific role that allows them to click on this and access that wizard. Initially, the account administrator will need to contact us either by email or by calling into our support line and have that role added to their security user profile. Once they have access, they can then assign it to other users at their discretion. So how does the Visitor Management Wizard work? Well, this wizard can be set up at reception areas or any area in which you're looking at checking in either new or returning visitors. Any individual that's checked in with the Visitor Management Wizard will be cataloged as visitor for the person type field, or I'm sorry, people type field, and then placed in the people database as a record. As the visitor records will count against your record limit for personal records, you'll want to double check your current Salamander Live package to ensure that you have enough records to maintain those visitor records. To increase your limit for personnel records, you can contact your local sales representative. All right, so let's take a look at Salamander Live. We'll dive right into the wizard. All right, so first of all, let's take a look at access. So under security users, go to your security user profile. And again, you can't assign this to yourself, but you can assign this to others. So again, contact us and we'll assign it to you, which would allow you then to assign this visitor management role to other users. So simply going in here, if I select someone else in here, simply going in here, selecting the role from the drop-down, and then selecting the organizations in which they would be able to manage visitors for. Okay, so if they should be able to manage it for the entire account, make sure they're set at the top. So the parent organization. If they're going to be limited to a specific organization for databasing, then select that organization in here, including children, and apply, just like any role that you would assign to someone. Okay, once they have that role, when they go to the wizard section under Salamander Live, they'll be able to click it. Okay. If they didn't have this role under here, what happens is that if they try to click on it, you'll see an X on there that says that they don't have access. So clicking on the visitor management wizard, you're going to get this little pop-up. So first things first is selecting the organization. So who are they visiting? Okay. So what you're going to do in here is you're going to just simply type in the name of the organization. As you start typing, you'll see that a list of organizations appear. Again, this is just like any organization field within Salamander Live. The organization has to exist. So if the organization they're visiting is not listed in the dropdown after you type it in, that means that you'll need to go back into the organization database, add the organization first, and then come back in here and then select it from the dropdown. So I'm going to select Moosewood County Emergency Management. From there, it's deciding whether this is a new visitor or returning visitor. So if this is a new visitor, you select that. If they've visited Moosewood County Emergency Management before, you can select returning visitor. So it's again based off of the organization that you've selected at the top here. So we're going to take both. We're going to take a look at both processes. We'll take a look at new visitor first. So I'm going to click on new visitor. From here, you're simply filling in their profile. So this is essentially creating their visitor profile that will be added to the people database. So their first name, last name, oh, I can spell today, email. In this case, if you want the individual, if you want to be able to email that individual their credential, you want to enter that in. This also fills it within their profile. So highly recommended. And if you want to collect their phone number and date of birth and employer, feel free to do so as well. Again, the rest of this information is optional. The only thing that's required is first name and last name. So if that's all you want to collect for your visitors, you can make it as simple as possible. But again, if you want to be able to email them their credential and then view their profile later in a report, you'll want to make sure that you collect as much information as possible. From here, you also have the option of uploading a picture. So you can take a picture if the computer you're working on has a camera. You can take their picture and then that will print off on the ID, or you can upload a picture. I'm just going to quickly upload a picture in here. Uh, let's see, here's one. Okay, so when you're uploading the picture, just make sure that you go in there and then you can go in there, crop the picture as you see fit, save it, and they'll be added there. Okay. From there, add any notes if you need to, address information. As you guys know, any address line within SalamanderLive, as you start typing, it fills in the rest of the information in here. Okay. And driver's license information if needed. Once you have this information filled out, simply click Next. And my screen is a little bit large. Let me make it smaller. There it is. Next piece of information in here that you can collect is who are they visiting and if they are visiting because of an event and whether or not you want to print or email their credential. Okay. So if there's a specific person or again, in this case, the system calls it a host that they're visiting, you can enter that person's first or last name in the search resources field. So in this case, I'll type in Terry. Okay, so here he is. There's this Terry Hayes is who who this person's visiting. Now, if the person that they're visiting has an email that's been entered in their personnel record, you'll see that it'll list it here. Okay. From there, you have the option to send that host an email to let them know that they've got a visitor. So that's, making sure that everybody that's in the database there has an email is going to be beneficial in this case because they'll send them an email, let them know, hey, you've got someone that's coming to visit you. So again, that's optional, not required. So I'm going to select that so you can see what that email looks like. Next on here are they visiting because of an event? So if you want to add this visitor to an event, you have that option to do so. Okay. So in here, you'll see that your active events will be listed. From there, all you need to do is select the event in which they are going to be a part of. So I'm going to put in here that they're visiting because of a monthly meeting, and you've already created that either through Salamander Live, Track, or any of your other tracking applications. Okay, and then from there you can select the assignment. Okay. Again, the assignments that are going to be listed is based off of your event. So it's going to pull every single assignment that you've created for that event. Okay. I created this through Salamander Live. That's why there's an off scene, on scene one. But again, you created this through the track app. You have off scene, and then you can add a checked in assignment if need be. Below this is the credential options. So if you want to send the person, so the visitor, their credential via email, you have that option. Or if you have your computer connected to a printer and you're printing out ID tags, whether that be a wristband, a hard card, which is 2x3, or a label, whichever option it is or media you're looking at using. Okay, just make sure you have all that set up, and then print credentials, and then save and close. Okay, so I'm going to select both so you can see what this looks like. So I'm going to click save and close. Once I click save and close, it brings you back to the main list here. Okay, if you selected the printing option, you'll see that print settings window open just as if you're printing someone's ID tag from the people database. So from here, you can select your design. So I'm going to print a PDF. Again, this would be selecting your printer. And then from here, you're going to select the visitor card. So it's this one right here. So let me talk a little bit about the visitor ID. Let me pull up my presentation again here. So with the visitor ID card, we recommend that you use this new visitor tag design. This is available with our newest print control update. That's version 5.0.10. Now, unlike our previous version, the 5.0.9, there is no need to uninstall your current print control to get this update. So simply just go to printing. If you don't have the newest version, it should pop up for you to update it. Okay. Now, this is for people that are not using custom designs. If you're using your standard um, tag designs, then this is how you would do it. Is update your print control to the newest version, and then with that newest version would include the new visitor design. Now, if your organization is using custom tag designs, the visitor tag design will need to be imported using ID Designer. Okay, so because of that, you'll need to contact us at support@salamanderlive.com, and we can send you the visitor tag design. And then you can just add that to your design folders in your C drive. Okay. So if you need any assistance with that, just give us a call or email us, and one of our techs will walk you through that process. Okay. So this is the design itself. It's real basic. It's colored blue at the top, says visitor on there, so you know for sure that that's a visitor, very different than any of our other designs. The person's name will be printed there, their picture if you uploaded one or if you took their picture, their organization. Of course, you have the option to add an expiration date in there. So all that is going to be based off of the information you collected through the wizard, as well as what you're selecting here. So if you choose to put an expiration date, that expiration will be printed on the ID card. Now, of course, if you don't select an expiration date, that's not going to be printed. Again, it just really depends on what you're looking at printing. So in this case, the only design that we have in this case is the ARD card visitor. But again, if you have a wristband or anything printed on there, you can do that. Just know that those wristbands and or any other design that you choose on there is not going to say visitor. Okay, so this is the only design itself that says visitor. And all you're going to do in there is you're going to click print, and that's simple as that. Okay. My spooler's popping up on here. Wait till that runs. We'll save this. Okay. All right. So let me see if I received the emails, and I did. So let me pull those up here. So here is the email that you would get as the host. So as the host, this is what the email is going to look like. It's going to, it's going to say The email is going to come from Salamander Live notifications, like any of our other emails that are sent through the Salamander Live system. It'll say hello and then your name. There's a visitor here for you, the visitor's information. So whatever you collected, if you collected their first name, last name, phone number, email, that's what's going to be listed. Now, if you didn't collect their phone number and email, that's not going to be listed here. It's just going to have their first and last name. Okay. That's the basic email. From there, the credential itself. So if you've printed, or I'm sorry, if you've emailed credentials through Salamander Live before, by choosing the email credential option under the people database, it's the same type. It has the same look and feel. So nothing different about this. I'll pull this up here. So you'll see it's the same look and feel from the credentials if you were to email it from the people database. So you're going to see it's credential issued from. Okay, so the organization which you've selected, meaning who they're visiting, their name, their email, if you collected that, their ID, and then their QR code. So this can then be scanned into any sort of event if you needed to, if you need to check them out. Now they've got something that you can scan them as they're leaving that meeting. Okay, so you got a check in, check out option. Okay, so that's what that QR code is going to allow you to do. Take a look at the card that printed out. And here's the card itself. So you'll see it's the same kind of card, the organization name, when it expires. Again, that was placed during the printing options. Okay, person's picture. Any questions so far on a new visitor? Okay. All right, we'll go back in. So once you click save and close, it brings you back to your dashboard right here. I'm sorry, your people database. You can go back in here and you can add another person if you need to. So again, you just have to go click on wizard again, visitor management, to open back up the wizard, and then you can add in the next person that you're looking at checking in. This time, let's take a look at a returning visitor. Okay, so returning visitor, let's say it's the same person. Just going to use this again. Moosewood County Emergency Management is who they're visiting. And then returning visitor. So once you select returning visitor, it's going to ask you to search for them. So what this search is doing is it's searching through your people database, trying to find that person. So again, you can do a first name or last name. So if I type in Lauren, there she is. Right, see that? She's in here. I can click on her name. It's going to pull up some information I've captured so far in her personnel record. Okay, so mobile number I collected earlier, her email. Okay, any address information, if I enter that, that's in here. Notes, license information. Now you cannot update her information from this screen. So once they're entered into the system, if you need to update their information, you have to go into their personnel record and edit that record. Okay, there's no editing in this wizard. So if you need to go and edit, just click cancel, go in here, find her record, and then update her phone number or email or anything else that you need to. Okay, simply click next, and then you get the same. Who are they visiting, if they are going to be a part of an event, and then credential options. So you get the same thing. So again, all this information is optional. If they're, excuse me, if they're not visiting a specific person, they're there for a meeting, you can just select the meeting itself. Okay. And then you have your options to send a credential or to print the credential. So same as before. So you have your same options. So any questions on the registering of a new visitor or returning visitor? I think I got Bruce Wayne in here. I'll do Bruce Wayne instead. Anyone? Any questions? Oops, that was my fault. I didn't select the assignment. So you don't select the assignment, it kicks you out of it. So Moosewood, doing way too fast there. Bruce Wayne, there he is. Next. There you go. Now he's checked into that meeting. All right. Any questions on that? All right. Now, if you added him to or added your visitors to an event, you should be able to see them on the event side over here. If I go to my events and I click on monthly meeting, I should see my 2 individuals. And here they are. There's Bruce Wayne and Lauren Donahue. And the assignment I selected or added them to. Again, the roster, resource timer, all that is part of the Events Pro. So if you don't have Events Pro, you're not going to see any data in these tiles. You don't have any pins on here because I created this through SalamanderLive, didn't add a location. I'm not using track. And then, of course, you've got the chart. Okay. So in the chart itself, you'll be able to look at their individual details in this case, if need be. Again, any of these other additional functions at the top here is all related to Events Pro. So if you have Events Pro, you'll be able to edit the assignment and move individuals and then check them in as well from here. All right. Going back to people, there is a way for you to filter and see all your visitors if you need to look at who are visitors versus your regular personnel or staff. So in your people database, what you want to do is you want to go in there and add the people type column, which I've already added in here. But all you're going to need to do in here is go into your edit columns, scroll through, and then go to people type. So it'll be down here. Add it to your visible columns and then change your sort. So you can just click, drag and drop it where you want it to go. So let's say I want to move it over here underneath organization for my sort order. From there, all you do is click done, and you've got people type in there. From there, if you want to filter your list, simply click the column header to pull down the sort and filter. And then from there, you can do starts with, contains, exact. So I'm going to type in visitor. Here it is, visitor. And then I click apply, and then it should pull up all my visitors. So there they all are. Bruce Wayne visited a couple different organizations in this case. If I want to pull a report on this, once I have a filter set, I can go up to the report option, click on CSV export. As you know, if you worked with Salamander Live before, you know that the CSV export is the only report that you're able to kind of customize because this customization is based off of your list view. So whatever columns that you've added in here are basically the information that will pull in on this report. Not only that, any filters that you've set on here as well too is what's going to impact what you see on the CSV export report. Everything else is really canned reports. So you can click on that, pull the report, and now you've got a report of all your visitors. So the ID, first name, last name. This is the same as what I had before, visitor type, emails. You can tell the ones that had emails and the ones that didn't. So if you need to update any of this information, you could always go into their record and update it as needed. So for example, Clark Kent doesn't have an email and you want to make sure that you type in that email and the phone number is not there, you can always go into their record. So once they've been added as a visitor, they now have their own profile in this case. So then you can go in there and enter in any other information if you'd see fit for this person. So that information is going to be over here. So email, phone number, if you want to add that in. It's the under the people type. I don't know if you guys have looked at this, but here's all the different types that you can select from the drop down. So using the visitor management wizard would immediately type them as visitor. So automatically puts them as visitor. I know I talked about it, but in the wizard, there's an option for employer. So in this case, what it does is it adds them to the organization, Moosewood County Mercy Management. So this is who they're basically visiting, but it also puts that as their actual organization name. Now, if you wanted to enter in their actual employer, you can put in their employer information right here. So let's say you've got, businesses around the city that's coming in. You have a monthly meeting to talk about different projects and whatnot, and you want to collect that information right here. You have that option to do so. So this is why having that visitor type is extremely important, because this basically going to say that they are actually a part of this organization, but they're really not. It's just saying that they're visiting these particular organizations. So making sure that this, or understanding the organization name and the people type, and when they're combined, is going to be extremely important. I see a question. Let me just see in here. Yes, this is behind the scenes. So yes, this is the person coming in, and then you, as the Salamander Live user that has access, has to check them in. Now, if there's a person walking in, it's not really it kind of is a self check-in. It's kind of which is the quick check-in. So that is the feature that we'll be covering next month, is the quick check-in wizard. There is a couple different processes for this one on why you would use the quick check-in versus the visitor management. But the one that you're probably talking about, John, is the quick check-in, which is really a self check-in wizard that they can go in. As long as you set up some of the settings in there, they can check themselves in, as long as they already have a Salamander Live profile. So that's the difference between the two. Is visitor management, they don't actually have a record with you at all. If you go to your people database, they don't have a record. You would want to use the visitor management. If they already have a record and you're just quickly looking at checking them in, and you just want them to check themselves in, then you'd use the quick check-in wizard instead. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And that's what we'll be covering next month in the September training. Any other questions? No other questions? All right. Oh, that is simply it for the visitor management wizard. It's pretty short. I know usually these are about an hour long, but this, again, it's a really just a small feature that's available here. Again, there's no additional cost to using this feature. Just getting access, making sure you contact us so that we can provide you with the correct access, so you can start assigning that to other users as well. Other than that, that's it. So you've got 30 minutes to spare. I'll open it up for any final questions before we close out of this. No questions? All right. Well, this video will be posted to our Salamander Live, or our Salamander University here probably in the next couple weeks, probably not going to be right away. But if you want to review this, or if you want the video to send it out to others, let me know. I will have the YouTube link available, and I can send that over to you, and then you can access through our YouTube channel instead. All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for your time. Really appreciate it. You have a wonderful day. Take care.